How many times have we said to ourselves, let me buy dash and then I'll be happy, or let me go to this place and then I'll be happy? A few Sundays back, I remember our pastor saying that true happiness comes when we submit ourselves to God. He also said something like, in the times we are living in, people want their happiness at whatever cost. It doesn't matter if we are hurting people in the process. Something else he said was that if we were to choose, we would only pick the things that make us happy. But the question is, at what expense? Could we actually be forfeiting what we need in the pursuit of happiness? And I knew I had gotten a head start into this topic of true happiness because it's something that I had wanted to talk about in this channel for such a long time. Coincidentally, a few weeks back, actually a few days before recording this video, a friend of mine sends me a podcast that talks about happiness. In the podcast, Laurie Santos, a professor in psychology, talks about how true happiness comes when you do things for others rather than always focusing on ourselves. And I liked one last point she shared as she was closing. She said that most of the times when we find ourselves in depressive states, it's because we focus on ourselves. When you go down that road of focusing on ourselves, most of the times we magnify the things that we are inadequate in, or the things that we are working at. It magnifies the things that we are not proud of when it comes to ourselves. And one thing I think is that these kind of thoughts are very addictive. When we start thinking negative things about ourselves, sometimes we go on and on and on, and we think about, and we try to connect dots even of things that are in the past, and we see ourselves as inadequate, and this does a lot of damage to our peace and our health in general. And one of Laurie's suggestion from the podcast was that when you find yourself in this kind of situation, in a depressive state, go out and do something nice for someone. When you find yourself accommodating such kind of thoughts, you should go outside, find something nice to do to someone, or even find a compliment to give someone. You can even call someone you've been meaning to call and compliment them on something they are doing that is good, and tell them nice things, and somehow that depressive state, it fades, it goes away. This was so refreshing for me to hear, and now I understand that the most important kind of happiness, and the one that truly lasts, is where we put others before us, when we commit ourselves to serve other people instead of always looking inward. Myself, when I am feeling bored, doing window shopping at any time always does the magic for me. But really, for how long can you keep that on? Sometimes you may not be close to a place where you can just go and window shop. But I think the real thing is that when we are in that state of doing the window shopping and just going outside our spaces, we interact with people in the process, and that kills that thought of, I'm not adequate, I suck at this, It brings now that view of other people, and in the process, that feeling of depression comes out of us. You get? So it's safe to say that we need the society to heal. We need society for true happiness to happen. All I'm saying is that let's learn to be more outward looking, and this is looking literally outside and seeing other people instead of focusing on us. A life that is lived to serve others is more fulfilling than the life where we live just to fulfill ourselves, to satisfy our needs alone. And honestly, this is part of self-work and self-growth. Can you imagine the kind of happiness that would spring if everyone lived like that? If we all lived looking out for the other person, it becomes a ripple effect. The other person looks out for the other person, and so on and so on, and there will be so much joy in the world. I think so. Imagine the warmth the person on the receiving end feels, and that person definitely will now have a better outlook to life. And if they do the same thing for other people, my goodness, the joy that we would all experience. Imagine that. A happiness that is meant to serve just our needs is not sustainable. I tend to think it's because we are human and social beings, and somehow we need the society to bring out wholeness in us. I hope this video was helpful and changed your perspective on happiness, and even shed some light on things that we can do so that we can experience a happiness that lasts. Thank you for watching. Make sure to give this video a thumbs up so that YouTube can suggest it to other viewers. And also, in case you haven't subscribed yet, make sure to subscribe, and see you in one of my other videos. Peace.